Good morning, everyone. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about 3 key trends which we believe is going to change how we conceptualize and build products. And some of the implications of these trends we believe is going to change the challenges as MNC R&D centers we face in India. Before I start that, I want to start with some good news in terms of what as an industry we have done in India. Today, there are over 900 companies having their own R&D center in India. And out of the top 500 global R&D spenders, approximately 50% of these companies already have centers in India. Just in the last 2 years, 50 new companies have come in to set up their R&D centers. A very large ecosystem we have been able to create over the last 20 years. And this industry has created over 250,000 engineering jobs, high-paying engineering jobs, much larger compared to any other industry which has done in the last several years. And we indirectly employ over 1 million people. It's not a joke. There's not many industries who are able to do this over the last few years. And just from efficiency improvements, just in 2013, we have helped our global companies with $17 billion in savings. And the products which are owned in terms of engineering leadership or product leadership has creating global revenues over $26 billion. This is something we should be extremely proud of what as an industry we have done over the last 10 years. And I would like yourself a big round of applause for doing this. Okay, let's not get comfortable now. There are a lot more to be done. And I'll talk about these 3 trends and why these are very, very important. The first trend is the world is becoming really flat in a data-driven product engineering aspects coming in. Second, I'll talk about new and aggressive competition which large companies today are not used to. There are 3 types of new types of competition which are coming in. I touch upon each of this competition. And third, the world is becoming a lot more open and collaborative. And that is also changing how you build products. First, let's look at the telecom industry in India or globally. Right? This is one of the fastest growing industry over the last 20 years. Many of the large companies in the emerging markets, be it government-owned or public companies, were created from the telecom industry. Look at any indicator. Mobile broadband had gone up 4 times just in the last 5 years. Smartphones are growing 6 to 7 times just in the last 5 years. Every macro indicator you look in this industry, it's been on the way up, in some areas exponentially. There is one key aspect which has actually gone down. If you look at one of the key drivers of this industry is SMS. And some of the innovations, be it missed dial-based services, website creation around SMS, money transfer, a lot of these innovations we are proud of came out of India riding the SMS wave. But today, this industry is actually going down. In 2016, we expect the loss to be about $20 billion. Even companies like Airtel and many other global companies, the SMS revenue is going down 20% a year, in spite of all the regulatory environments in each of these emerging countries, which protects the local companies. This is something they didn't think about. It was not in their business plan. This is something going to happen. Now you cut back and look at this company, a typical startup based out of Mountain View. A typical founders who didn't get jobs in Facebook, they didn't get jobs in Yahoo and Twitter. They decided, okay, let me go and start a company. And today they have over 500 million users. And they're going to hit 1 billion users much faster than any other company, even faster than Facebook. And this is unprecedented, and this company is disrupting the telecom revenue of all global companies, including companies in India. So how many of you can guess which company I'm talking about? Right, it's WhatsApp. So a company like WhatsApp, with just engineers in the Mountain View, taking a data view to product engineering and not having anybody in India, and able to still understand the consumers here and increase adoption, over 50 million users in India. This has not been done before. We sit here and talk about we don't have access to global customers and we cannot innovate from India. If WhatsApp is able to do it out of the Mountain View for India market, what is stopping us from doing it from India to global markets? It's just not WhatsApp. Look at Ford. Ford has set up a design center in Silicon Valley where they look at data from 4 million of their cars. And using this data, they're able to create a lot more fuel efficient and high quality engines. Look at Facebook. Facebook's emerging market business is actually based on Mountain View, and they have an interesting model. They send SWAT teams of engineers going into Asia, going into Africa, and buying the local phones in these markets and understanding how users are using these products in these markets. And that is enabling them to build applications which are much more efficient than the applications used in developed markets. Uber, the relative ease in which Uber came into India in the last 1 year has really made the VCs excited. And just 4 days ago, the local Uber, Ola Cabs, announced $40 million in VC investment based on Uber's success in India. So it's already happening how these companies are using data, a platform approach to engineering, and they're able to use that to deliver products for emerging markets. So in some level, we can't defend against these disruptions happening in global markets and thinking that these companies won't understand India or they won't understand Africa. They are able to figure it out based on the data and usage which are able to track about their users. So it's not happening one way. The other way is also starting to happen. But the Indian startups are taking a lead compared to the large multinational companies. Look at InMobi. InMobi is over $1.5 billion in market cap. The company has the entire engineering team, engineering leadership, and most of product leadership based out of India, based here in Bangalore. But 95% of the revenue for the company is based outside of India. Look at a company like Perfint, which is a local Indian company, a healthcare company, healthcare medical equipment company, which is funded by Axel Ventures. And today they're predominantly going global. Dhruva, again a company which is over $200 million in market cap in a very, very short duration. So these are very interesting when you speak to the startup. One thing they start up with a VP of marketing from day one. What they're saying is the sales model where you need feet on street to go and sell products, it is fundamentally changing. Today it's all about content marketing and value-driven sales. And we were speaking to one of the CEOs. He said, just from their center in Chennai, they're able to close $100,000 worth of product deals without having anyone on the street. So they are able to disrupt what Indian IT companies use global delivery model for IT projects. These startups are able to use global delivery model for sales and marketing, right? And if you look at the startups are able to do it, there is no excuse anymore for us to say, I don't have access to my customer and thereby I won't be able to drive innovation. The second interesting trend what we have noticed is the competition. We look at 3 types of competition. One, we call them tech mafias. I'll explain who they are. Second are startups. These are not software startups. These are hardware startups. Third, the large as well as the upcoming companies out of China. These are 3 new competition which large companies, we have been around for the last 50 years, are not ready to face. To understand tech mafias, let's go back a little bit in history. Over the last several centuries, there has been periods in history when bright minds came together in the same location, the same time, to create something which are brilliant. And they created a step function in the industries they work in terms of evolution of the industries. Let's look at the high Renaissance period. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, they lived in the same time to create a great explosion of creative genius in the art industry. Then you kind of go forward into the Industrial Revolution. You had people like Goodyear, Newberry, Henry Ford live together, create an explosion in automotive innovation. It is happening today in Silicon Valley. You have Larry Page, Elon Musk, Mark Anderson, Steve Jobs. many of the people work together in the same location to create the innovations of the last 2 decades, be it Android, iOS operating system, search, electric car, or a low-cost rocket. A lot of these innovations have come from this one location, with people almost living few miles from each other. And this is what we call as tech mafias. And look at the impact of these companies. If you take the top 100 global R&D spenders and take over some of the oil and gas companies like Exxon and so on, and the market cap of these companies is about 6.6 trillion plus. And just the companies headed by the tech mafias is about 1.5 trillion. Right? Jesus did 4 or 5 companies, $1.5 trillion in market cap. And these companies are not valued so high for the product they have today, but they are valued so high for what they are going to create in the future. Let's just take an example of Google. Google X, which is run by Sergey Brin, one of the key things they talk about, and many of when you talk to automotive customers of us or industrial automation companies of us, they tell us, hey, why are you talking about Google? Our competition is somebody else. And Google X focus is not really on bits. They are focusing on atoms. They are focusing on innovations on physical products. Everybody know about the self-driving car from Google, 100,000 plus miles. They already have a license for this car. Then you have Google spending billions of dollars in Google Fiber and Google Loom to disrupt the telecom market. Recently, they're coming up with Google Contact Lens, which has miniature sensors and radio antenna thinner than our human hair to track glucose levels in people, going to impact millions of people's lives. And just yesterday, Novartis announced a partnership with Google to productize and commercialize this innovation. And in many, many industries, and same with Apple. Apple is going after the healthcare industry, and they're going to have a number of patient-centric healthcare solutions coming out in the future. So these companies are not satisfied with the existing products. They're going to go after every single industry. They're going to disrupt anything which has not changed in the last 50 years. They're going to disrupt those industries. So watch out for tech mafias. And the next part is really the next generation of startups which are coming in. And the days are gone when you have e-commerce and dot-com startups. Today, the startups are, the companies which are getting market cap over $1 billion are hardware companies. 2 days ago, TechCrunch had an interesting article. It said, hardware is new software. Look at GoPro, Beats, Jawbone, Oculus. A number of these companies are really hardware companies. And they're created with a similar structure of a software company. And they are going to go after every single industry. Right? Let's look at some of these companies. MakerBot started 3 years ago. Angel-funded company, bought over last year for $400 million. Actually, if they waited for like a couple of years, they would have bought for like $2-3 billion. The company is over $75 million in revenue, disrupting multiple industries. EcoVotus, the company which is funded by Khosla Ventures and Bill Gates, they're trying to create an engine which is going to be extremely efficient compared to the engines which are available in the market, based on a technology they call opposed piston or opposed cylinder. The technology has been around for a while, but they're able to commercialize this technology. Already they have a number of early stage customers. SpaceX, we don't have to talk about SpaceX. SpaceX is actually sending goods for NASA to the International Space Station. And next year, contractually, they're supposed to send humans to the International Space Station, just in a period of 10 years. And many times we talk to customers, they say, hey, I don't have domain experts. So if I have to innovate in automotive, if I have to innovate in aerospace industry, I need these people with 30 years experience. SpaceX was started, and they're able to build an industry in a period of 10 years. So it is a great example of what we can achieve if we have the right vision and right passion, and people are able to do that globally. The third, and we can talk about these first 2 categories of competition, tech mafias and startups, and you say, hey, it's all about innovation. And some will work, some might not work. But we believe the China competition is real and today. How many of you know the names of these people whom you see on this slide? Okay, there's only one person in this room know the name of these people. And these are people who are changing our lives profoundly every single day. These are companies, Huawei. Huawei used to be one of the only company out of China which is competing with global companies. Today there are many, many companies. Lenovo is the largest PC manufacturer in the world, and they're going to be one of the largest smartphone manufacturers. WeChat has over 150 million internet users, international users, outside of China. And WeChat is one of the few companies, internet companies, use Bollywood stars for advertisements in India. And Li Chen, the CEO and chairman of Xiaomi, he's considered Steve Jobs in China. There are people standing in queues to buy products from Xiaomi. Xiaomi has just started 3 years ago. They're over $5 billion in revenue. And they're launching in India, 15,000 rupees. India market, Micromax, Samsung, and Xiaomi. Game on. They're coming in, they're trying to get the products that work for them in China, bringing the product in India. One of the things they have done is taking agile development to the extreme. They release software updates to the phones every week with incremental updates. And these updates come from the queries and feedback they get from consumers. That's the pace in which the company is able to release the products. This is the large companies. And if you don't know about these people, I better suggest that you go to Wikipedia and figure out who they are. And they're going to profoundly impact our lives for the next decade. So we talked about the large companies. What is happening in the rest of China? We all know that China is one place where electronics, fabric, we can conceptualize, prototype, and create with relative ease. Ito-san, the head of MIT Labs, had this observation. He says, what kids in Palo Alto do for websites, the kids in Shenzhen do for cell phones. These kids are able to take these cell phones to the market, figure out what is working, and iterate on this. They're doing what we thought is possible only in software. They're able to do in hardware. They have this ecosystem which is able to create and enable these kids to build these products and get into market. Think of a scenario when Google comes out and puts an open architecture for a car, and then said anybody can use this open architecture and build a product. There are going to be a number of these OEMs coming out of China, which is going to disrupt the large global OEMs. It is not that far for us to imagine. Profound change coming in for the next few years. I'm talking about the open architecture. The next one is really a hyper collaboration. We are living in an open and collaborative world, and it's going to change how we build products. All our patents all belong to you. No, there is no grammatical mistake in the sentence. This is actually the title of blog Elon Musk wrote 2 weeks ago when Tesla decided to release all their patents in public domain for anybody who wants to use it or free to use these patents. It's a big change in industry, and we like this industry as consultants because things change so fast. It keeps our life interesting. Just 2 years ago, Steve Jobs had said going to be a nuclear war against Google for alleged patent infringements. Arguably, for some of this, you can say, hey, these are really usability tweaks. But they really said it's going to be a nuclear war. What did Google do? Spent $10 billion, went and bought Motorola, armed themselves with 17,000 granted patents and about 7,000 filed patents. They kind of split the rest of Motorola and clinically sold, almost with the precision of a private equity, but that's a different story. And now, this company, which has patents in battery technology, they have patents in powertrain, they have patents in air suspension, coming out and opening all of these out. The impact of this is profound. Suddenly, if you have the intent, if you have the vision and passion, the ecosystem is available for you to build upon that ecosystem to take it to the next level, right? And again, like I talked about the open architecture car, it's now feasible with a lot more of the companies opening up their patents over the next few years. It is not about patents. Look at what companies like GE are using crowdsourcing. There's a platform called Kaggle. So what Kaggle does is, it's a predictive analytics competition platform. You have researchers, you have large enterprises put in their data sets. You have scientists and data miners come and compete for the best model. GE had 25 million flights, information 25 million flights, about 4 million flight delays from about 200 airline companies across the world. They look at this data and say, how do I optimize my algorithm to make it a lot more efficient? The internal engineers were not able to do that. They put this on Kaggle. 3,000 entries. The best algorithm was able to increase the efficiency by 47% compared to the benchmark. Right? Crowdsources tremendous amount of empower people willing to help. Safecast, interesting initiative, crowdsource initiated track radiation across the globe. During the Fukushima nuclear disaster in Japan, they were able to react much faster compared to the NGOs or the government able to react. Just in the last 3 years, they have 16 million data points on radiation from across the world. Tremendous crowdsourcing platform being created, which we can use to deliver innovation going forward. So these three trends, data-driven product engineering, unprecedented new and aggressive competition, and third, open and collaborative world, is going to change how we build products. So what do we need to do? First, how do we create a data-driven product culture within the company? How do we enable our product development, our product management teams to have a view on customer data, be it from usage data, CRM systems, your technical support system, give them an integral view. They're able to use this to iterate rapidly on the products, what they need to build. And second is in terms of how do you create a mechanism, because we are 10,000 miles away from the headquarters. And that will allow us to reduce noise and work on some of the areas which are adjacent to the existing focus areas, so we can defend against some of this new and aggressive competition. Finally, why restrict ourselves with what is available in this ecosystem? There are thousands of domain experts, be in aerospace, be in industrial automation, storage, in many of the areas. Many of them are retired in the US, in Europe, in Japan. Is there a way for us to use the creative and intellectual capability of these people for the work we are doing in India? Why restrict ourselves with IITs and IIScs and PESETs? Why not look at the universities in China and Singapore and a number of other countries for us to partner to enable the innovation happening in India? Why start up with startups in India? Why not work with startups in Israel? Why not partner with startups in Singapore? How do we look at the ecosystem much broader than the ecosystem which is available very close to us? If we are able to do all of this, we believe it will accelerate our journey to become an engineering hub. And many of you think that you are an engineering hub, but we have worked with hundreds of companies, and we believe there are a handful of companies which are truly an engineering hub, which is very similar to what a headquarters would do. For you to be an engineering hub, you've got to run a deep charter. One of the most important charters for the company should be driven from here. Second, you would own a portfolio of products which are not mature products, which are actually growth products for the company. Third, you will have centers of excellence. It will be technology, functional, or market-driven centers of excellence. You have innovation incubation program, which is going to build products, which is the future products of the company. And you have an ecosystem connect. You not only invest in this right ecosystem, but also leverage this ecosystem. And finally, you are the melting point for best-in-class global talent in whatever area you're focusing on. And we believe that the three trends we talked about will help us accelerate the journey to create engineering hubs of India. Only when we create engineering hubs here, we can start taking moonshots. These are some of the innovations, which are potential technology innovations. We kind of looked at what the future is and technology visionaries talk about. And only when we take these moonshots, some of these technology innovations will potentially land from India. The interesting thing is, the education pill. You have the pill, and suddenly you learn new language. And finally, I will be able to learn Hindi. Second, the brain sensors. You know, it will make all of us work like X-Men. We can use Hyperloop to travel from city to city. A lot of these innovations are going to be possible over the next decade. And we believe the MNC ecosystem will play a significant role in enabling some of these innovations to come out of India. Last, stop with this quote. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease to be able to do it. So let's believe, let's work together and create some of these technology innovations from India. Thank you.